Today is a big day for Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course a big day for Nigerians as well. At 11 p.m. tonight, he will be addressing the 78th session of the high-level general debate of the United Nations General Assembly, Unga, at the UN headquarters in New York for the first time. On the sidelines of Unga, President Tinubu met with the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, where he canvassed economic development and diplomatic drive for investment attraction. He also met with Hussein Ibrahim Taha, Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, and the President of the Union of Comoros and Chairperson of the African Union, AU, President Azali Assoumani. Since his inauguration as Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu has visited several countries, including China, India, United Arab Emirates, and now the United States, indicating his drive to project his renewed hope agenda beyond the country's shores. Several projections have hinted his agenda at Unga to include tackling climate change, illicit financial flows, and assert a return to Nigeria with a view to encouraging stronger international cooperation. Nigeria's efforts in attaining SDGs as well as ensuring international peace and security. The 78th United Nations General Assembly is our focus on Nigeria today. Welcome to the program. I am your carrier, Clinton. Joining me to speak more on the 78th United Nations General Assembly, Unga, is Dr. Michael Enyinna Kasarachi. He is a Group Director, Fund Vine Holdings, a politician, and an international affairs analyst. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Also joining us via Zoom is Jide Ojo, an international affairs analyst. Welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure, Kerry. Good evening, Nigerians.
Jide, this year's Unga is a big deal for Nigeria's president, and of course Nigeria. What's your view on this?
Well, like I said in my column in the back page of the Punch newspaper today, it's a golden moment for the president and for the country that we are not missing in action and we are able to participate. Because this is a United Nations General Assembly made up of 193 countries, and Nigerian president will be speaking at 11 p.m. today for 15 minutes. It's a world stage where we can canvass our position on international issues of illicit financial flow, issue of climate change, issue of terrorism and counterterrorism, issue of poverty, and other issues around the theme of the 78th UN General Assembly, which is about largely about sustainable development goals. There are 17 of those goals, and I believe the president will be speaking to a number of them and initiatives that his administration has taken in order to ensure that we are on track. Because, as you know, SDG has 7 years left. It was formulated arising from the 8th Millennium Development Goals, which terminated in 2015. And for another 15 years, we are supposed to set targets to meet the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And you could see that the theme of this year is weaved around the issues around sustainable development goals for peace, for prosperity, and all of that. So I believe it's a golden moment for Nigeria. The president went with 6 governors and 7 ministers, as well as senior aides. And as you said in your background, he has already met with the president of South Africa. They have had very fruitful deliberations. And it is hoped that at the end of this whole exercise, we will be counting foreign direct investment in billions of dollars coming to Nigeria.
The theme of Unga is rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity, accelerating action on the 2030 agenda and its SDGs towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all. Now, looking at the President's renewed hope mantra, how relevant is this theme to us as a nation?
It's very important. In fact, I'm excited that the president is there, and considering what we have gone through in the last few months after the election, and the president has no excuse. I think he has every confidence to go to anywhere to tell people we have a long-term and a progressive democracy. So what any investor is going to ask you, how sustainable is your democracy and how well is your institutions? So, and if you look at the Renew Hope agenda, you can see that the president is not just talkative, he's playing an action, is driving the project. Renew Hope is driving the project. You can see there's reform in almost all the sectors today, whether it's in agriculture, in every sector of the economy today, whether it's the financing and other things. I believe what the president have done in last 100 days is commendable, and he has taken Nigeria globally, boosting Nigerians to come back, both diaspora to come back home to do investment. You can see having a meeting with all the president of Ramaphosa, AU president. He has met a few weeks ago. He was in China. So you can see the president he was in India, to attend on a summit. And everything is all about driving in FDI to Nigeria. So we hope that this movement and everything come back to us at the end of the day for a better Nigeria, for a progressive Nigeria. Nigerians are more inexpectant, and we hope, because one of the UN General Assembly is about the SDG, which is a sustainable development goal. So just like earlier make a comment that it just left 7 years. What are our action plan? What are the action plan are you going to use to be able to meet up? We have global problem on climate change. We have problem illicit fund. How do we reduce all this whole thing, poverty, which is surrounding us here? How do we be able to curtail all these challenges? So I think those are things we should be expecting from Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jide, you just mentioned that the president has been meeting with, on the sidelines, has been meeting with some world leaders, some African leaders, and of course we'll meet with more. Now, how can we use the opportunities of these Unga to speed up economic diversification and set the stage for sustainable development?
It's by these multilateral and bilateral meetings, meeting with different investors, aside from meeting with head of governments and head of states. There have already been scheduled meetings with tech giants such as Microsoft, as well as Meta Technologies. The president will also be meeting with his former employers, ExxonMobil, at their headquarters, and we also be meeting with General Electric. So these are part of measures to curry foreign direct investment. The FDI definitely will help with the economy. Right now, efforts are made to diversify. Recall that the president has rolled out his food security policy, and he has done well by ensuring that He encourages the farmers with fertilizer and farm implements. Part of the SDG is zero hunger. That's the SDG 2, zero hunger. SDG 1 is zero poverty. And you need to have a buoyant economy for you to be able to attain food security. So the president is walking the talk, meeting all these industrialists and foreign direct investors to come do business with us. And as I've said earlier today in my column in the Punch newspaper, which is on the back page, I did say, as we look at the possible fallout of the benefits of this at the global stage, we also must do some housekeeping. We must ensure that we improve on our ease of doing business indices. Issues around visa on arrival, issue around access to credit, access to land, issues around fighting corruption, issues around clearance of goods at the port. Because when investors make commitments, what we are most likely going to get out of Unga is commitments. We were going to bring $5 billion, we are going to bring 10 billion. And I did cite the example of investment partnership with Virgin Atlantic boss and some years ago, that's Sir Richard Branson, where when he came to invest in giving us the national carrier called Virgin Nigeria, he had to leave after a few years because of issues around bribery and corruption by government officials and politicians. So I did say that, yes, as we want it, as we scout for investors, foreign investors, as we negotiate deals, we must also ensure that we strengthen our institutions to fight against, corruption. And not only that, we must keep at least at tolerable level issues around insecurity, because no investors want to bring his money into an insecure environment. So we must do well to up the ante in the fight against terrorism and banditry, as well as our national industrial court. Because when these people come and there are trade disputes, how will it be resolved? What is the level of our judicial institutions in terms of justice delivery? What is their track record? These are things that we need to do, even as we try to woo foreign investors, which I'm very positive. By the end of this Unga, 78 Unga, there will be many of such commitments to come and invest in Nigeria, because we do have the market and we are even the biggest economy in Africa. Our market is over 200 million people in terms of population. But then we need to do the needful at the home front, so that at least when they come, they will meet an environment in which they can invest. And also part of what should be part of our package is what the president has already made a pledge about, that he will allow foreign investors to repatriate their profit from the country. Aside from that, it's also that it will create the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. And if all of this if the president made good all of these promises, I'm very positive that these commitments from tech giants and international companies, as well as other world leaders, will, in the next couple of months, maybe in another 3 to 6 months, we'll start to see the benefits of our participation in UN General Assembly. May I add that it's not only at the presidential level we should be looking. We should also be looking at the subnational level. There are 6 governors that went with the president, 2 of them from the opposition, People's Democratic Party, that's Governor Seyi Makinde and Governor Eno of Akwa Ibom. We have these 6 governors there. They must also negotiate deals that will see investors coming to their state, because only federal government cannot turn around the economy of Nigeria. We need states, we need local governments to play their own role. And that's when we will have been able to achieve national development.
Thank you very much. This is still Nigeria Today. Let's pause here for a break to enable us listen to what Nigerians have to say on the 78th Unga. Don't go away.
looking at his previous outings, because recently he was in Dubai, and he also met with other world leaders recently. He met the business community also. So I feel top on the agenda we see is always about business.
So looking at the role of Nigeria all this while, you see that Nigeria deserves to be in among the G20. Now, the visit of Tinubu to New York, United Nations General Assembly, it is a good indication for Nigeria to know that, yes, apart from our population, we have what it requires. If not, US, Germany, France, Canada, they will not rally Nigeria.
According to the government spokesperson, we were told that there's a lot of benefit that joining with Nigeria will derive from such joining. But it is easier said than done.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we are looking at the 78th United Nations General Assembly, and my guests are still here with me, two gentlemen. Now, you had the reaction of people there.
Yeah.
So
it's easy said than done.
No, now you had the other speaker, Jide, there talking about not just looking at the federal level, but also looking at the subnational, what impact the General Assembly, the 78th session of the General Assembly would have on our states, even down to the local governments. Now, what are your expectations? After the assembly, what do you expect to see?
What to expect to see, like every other person is expecting, is global improvement to attract FDI to Nigeria, foreign direct investment. Tinubu is not much, is more than being a politician, is also like a businessman. That's the way I look at him. So
you're also a businessman.
I'm also a businessman. So I believe in collaboration with people he has sideline meeting is to be able to woo them, to be able to have that kind of interaction with them, to tell them opportunities and what they stand to gain. And it's all about giving that trust and confidence, and which he demonstrates in all capacities. And he's doing a lot. I really, sometimes I said to myself, this man worked tirelessly, because if you're being on the news line, you just see he traveled from here, meeting people. Does he really sleep? So he's working hard for Nigerians, and that I can tell you. And I know he's someone that loves Nigerians, and you can see the other speaker says he went along with about 3 governors from opposition. It's also to tell you that he's working together for progress of Nigeria. It's not really looking at the partisan side of being APC or whatever party. Anything that can make Nigeria to be a very prosperous nation, I believe Mr. President is the forefront to be able to help us to achieve it.
Okay, now, Jide, the instability in Niger and now Gabon are issues before the African leaders. And Nigeria's role in international peace and security will be prominently mentioned at the Unga. What is your take on this?
So this is also why it's more important for President Tinubu to be at this year's United Nations General Assembly, because he's wearing 2 caps. Is not only the president of Nigeria, is also the chairman of Authority of Heads of State and Government for Economic Community of West African States. So definitely the world will want to know what he, as chairman of ECOWAS, what he's doing in terms of stemming the tide of what has been classified as a coup contagion in West African sub-region and indeed in Africa. And he has done his level best, even though since the coup in Gabon happened, there have been a bit of playing down on the zeal to engage in Niger Republic. We haven't had much about the proposed, invasion of Gabon and proposed invasion or military action in Niger Republic. But diplomatic shuttles are still ongoing, and definitely it will report back to the UN General Assembly about efforts that have been made at the level of ECOWAS, at the level of African Union, to restore peace to some of those, to restore constitutional governments to some of those countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, and Niger Republic, which is in the ECOWAS sub-region. And of course, Gabon is neighbor to the Central African Republic. So these are part of, report back that definitely the president will, I should expect that he will mention it in his 15-minute speech coming up at 11 p.m. this evening. But more importantly is how do we prevent the occurrence of coup in Africa and globally, because there's already been established that there is a reversal, what is called democratic reversal in several countries, even where there have not been military takeover. The quality of election is concerning. The quality of the governance in many of the so-called democratically governed states is also very worrisome, given the fact that there is a lot of repression in many countries that even may not have suffered some military coup, but they are also not any better than having a military head of state, because there is no fundamental human rights, there is abuse of office, there is high level of poverty and all of that. So these also are interwoven. So part of what President Tinubu will be talking to world leaders is efforts that is making in Nigeria to strengthen democratic institutions so that we do not have a clamor for coup, and also to stem coup in other 14 other West African countries, as well as in the entire 54 countries in Africa. So these are just the two ways I will view his efforts, in this respect, at the multilateral level and at bilateral level. At the level of Nigeria, what is doing to strengthen democratic institutions. At the level of ECOWAS and AU, what is being done with brother African or sister African countries to ensure good governance, to ensure peace and security. And this is also linked to issues around terrorism, global terrorism and terrorism financing, and how this is promoting instability in many countries. So these are part of why the president will have to give kind of a report back or scorecard on what effort he has made and how successful those efforts are yielding positive results.
Just quickly before we go, what what kind of collaboration and synergy would you want to see, in area of technology?
The world today is a technological-driven world, and President being in Unga, meeting the tech guys, is to drive them to have a food base here. A lot of international companies moved to Ghana. I know Google and most of Africa, South Africa, and all that, is to drive those investments here. Amazon and the tech, if possible, Elon Musk is already here. So it's to drive those guys to have their headquarters in Africa, in Nigeria, because Nigeria have the big market. So those are things we're expecting to bring back home. And we hope that at the long term, those things yield results for better prosperity of Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And that does it on Nigeria Today. But I would like to appreciate my guest, Dr. Michael Enyinna Kasarachi, is the Group Director, Food Vine Holdings. He's also a politician, and an international affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And also, we want to say a very big thank you to you, Jide Ojo, an international affairs analyst. Thank you for being part of the program. And thank you for being part of today's episode of Nigeria Today. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekdays at 7:30 on NTA News 24. You can check this episode out and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Victoria Clinton. See you tomorrow.